Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. Big news from Google this week. Gemini 3.1 Pro just dropped, and the numbers are kind of wild.
Yeah, this one got my attention immediately. 77.1% on Arc AGI 2. To put that in context, Gemini 3 Pro scored 31.1% just 3 months ago. That is more than double.
Wait, more than double on the same benchmark? In 3 months? How does that even happen with a point release?
So that is actually the interesting part. This is not a full new generation. Google took the reasoning tech from Gemini 3 DeepThink, which launched a week earlier, and packaged it into the Pro tier.
DeepThink Mini, basically.
Exactly what VentureBeat called it. Same extended reasoning capability, but now it is available everywhere. The Gemini app, Notebook LM, GitHub Copilot, you name it.
Okay, so let us talk about the full benchmark picture, because 77.1 on Arc AGI 2 is the headline, but that is not the whole story.
Right. It beats Claude Opus 4.6 and GPT 5.2 on 13 out of 16 benchmarks Google tested. GPQA Diamond at 94.3%, Terminal Bench 2.0 at 68.5%, Live Code Bench Pro at 287 LO.
Those are not cherry-picked metrics either. That spans reasoning, coding, and scientific knowledge.
Exactly. But here is the thing people are going to miss. Claude Opus 4.6 still wins on SWE Bench Verified, 82% versus 80.6%. And on GDP Val LO, Claude is way ahead, 1606 versus 1317.
And GDP Val measures what exactly?
Expert level task quality. Think professional analysis, complex writing, nuanced judgment calls. The stuff that matters when you are actually building products, not solving logic puzzles.
So if your workload is more practical than theoretical, the crown might not matter as much.
That is exactly the right takeaway. And there is another catch. Time to first token averages 33.99 seconds.
I am sorry, 34 seconds before you get your first word back? That is brutal.
Nearly 30 times the median for models in its price tier. Output speed is fine at 104 tokens per second, but that initial thinking latency is a deal breaker for real-time apps.
So if you are building an agent framework that chains multiple model calls, that 34 seconds compounds fast.
Exactly. And this is the classic reasoning model trade-off. Better answers, but you pay for them in latency. Developers will have to decide what matters more for their use case.
What about pricing? Because that has been Google's angle for a while now.
Unchanged from the last generation. $2 per million input tokens, 12 per million output. That is roughly half the cost of Claude Opus 4.6 at comparable quality on most tasks.
Half the cost is hard to argue with. What has the developer reception been like so far?
Mixed. JetBrains reported a 15% improvement in evaluation runs and highlighted better token efficiency. Fewer output tokens for the same quality of results.
That is a real practical win.
It is, but other developers have flagged latency spikes during high demand, sometimes over 100 seconds. And some Gemini CLI users have seen the model accidentally delete working code during long sessions.
Oh no, state degradation in the middle of a coding session? That is the kind of thing that erodes trust fast.
And it is still in preview. Google says they are validating updates before general availability, especially for agentic workflows, so things could change.
Okay, so let me try to sum this up. Strongest reasoning model by most measures, great price, but slow first response and still in preview.
And Claude holds the edge on expert-level tasks, while GPT 5.3 Codex leads on some coding benchmarks. The AI crown is a rotating title at this point.
Which honestly makes it a great time to be building with these tools. There is no single winner, just the right model for what you are doing.
Exactly, and I think that is unlikely to change anytime soon. These companies are all pushing in slightly different directions.
Great breakdown as always, Maya. That is it for this episode of the Awesome Agents podcast. See you next time.